Okay, this is the last video on the last diagram. Okay, I'm gonna extend this because I'm gonna open Grasshopper, and I'm gonna now turn on the layers for the latest diagram, which is again down here. Okay, diagram 4, network of top lines, and we have isocurves. We have also another parameter we can like an input, the length of network lines. We'll talk about that. And we have here change accuracy to get metaball. So what we're doing here is actually a metaball. It's this little kind of a grasshopper option that allows us to change some parameters within the metaball configuration. Okay. Well, again, you might not have this one by default. So if it's closed, you can always say File, Open, and select the one that is in Blackboard again. Once you open it, you might have or not this option orange. So if it's orange, remember that you just go and turn on your bulk option here, and you right click, set multiples, select all these options, and then enter, and then you can turn off the bulk, so this will become gray like it is. Okay, nice. We also have this options here, as you see, diagram 4, isocurves. So this one's about isocurves, and it's almost like generating kind of density areas, and so it's almost like a terrain landscape or isocurve configuration. So what I'm going to do is select all of these options, click in 2 times again, and in order to turn on many things, you just have to press the center button, turn on, and this is what happens here. You get some isocurves. I'm going to turn on all the points, so you see. Actually, this one says points. Say right click, preview. So you see what this command is doing. It's kind of a collecting a series of points. Okay, and it's somehow doing almost like a terrain or isocurve configuration of density areas. Okay, I'm gonna keep that for now, but we're not gonna bake that one. Again, if you want to change some accuracy to the metaballs, you could, this first one is going to be like the density of the curve. So if you go to 100, for example, it's a bit more chunky. Let's just take it exaggerated, you see. But this low resolution, you probably want to keep it in a nice smooth kind of curvature configuration. This is the start. It connects with the beginning option. So this is pretty much a division configuration. It's not that important, but as you change it slightly, you will see how the metal balls start changing as well. It's very heavy, and in yours, if you're having trouble with that, make sure you double click and change the numbers more like on ones. So it changes the, let's make it very exaggerated, 20. There you go. Or let's take it very high, like 200. All the way. If you need more than this because you want a better kind of a set of groups, what we're trying to search is for kind of a where are the most important set or groups of density. So you could say 150, something like that, for example. And again, if you want to change that range, you can double click there and change that to 100 to be a bigger one. You might need that. Steps, it's pretty much also related to the density of the isocurve. So if you say 20, it will give you more like a dense configuration, or you can set this to 100 and it will be bigger. If you go further up, it will pretty much take almost all of them, you know, as you can see here. So I think that's an interesting tool. Probably want to keep it like in a nice number, so this is very interesting. Let's say 100. Like this one, why not? And then the count is how many isocurves we have. This is 10. So you could have, I don't know, 5, and you will have less isocurves. Or you can have, I will never put this one very high because it really starts getting very, very heavy in how many isocurves, as you can see. So keep it something like around 10 or whatever you think is working properly to understand density. Okay, so that all this process pretty much also to select how many points are, you know, in proximity to each other. So it could relate to what what is the distance between each area. And for that, what I created is a network of top lines. I'm going to select all of them, center button, preview, and this is pretty much a network that goes from the low points to the highest in an orderly manner. Okay. Actually, this line shouldn't be there. It goes from the last one to the previous. I'm gonna fix this grasshopper file so that one at the end doesn't appear, but you know, I think it should go from the bottom all the way to the top in order from bottom to top, as you can see. And good. You also have the points if you want them. There you go. But that could be again for the Rhino people. And you could also have like this is how many lines you have there on top, so you can include and just go towards the last ones or not. So again, that last one that goes from the top to the bottom shouldn't be there. So anyway, you can change the number of polygons. I'm gonna set it there. Looks good. I'm gonna bake these guys. If you wanna bake a lot of options at the same time, you can always just, for example, say work on this option. You click there, diagram 4, and you can select all of this. For example, let's say the iso curves. Well, sorry, I'm gonna actually make a set of layers as always. D4. Let's call them iso curves, and another layer. D4. Let's call them network. Okay, I'm gonna drag them inside, and I'm gonna work on first the iso curves. Select the iso curves, center button, and bake. And this doesn't ask you where you wanna, in what layer you wanna take it. This just goes directly to the one selected here, so that's why it's important. And then I go, oops, select these ones, center button, bake, and it goes directly to the selected layer. And we can close this. If you don't see it, this because they're white, as always. Again, these layers could be logical as in how you're working later on. And there you go. Again, you could get the points or many other conditions. I think that's also interesting. Okay, good. So as always, we go right click, set view, isometric, southeast, and as always, you select make 2D, 4B as you say. Okay, it's thinking a bit there. Go to the top view. We probably want to get rid of one of this again, move it again as always, and this, I'm gonna press shift to scale it up to 2 times. And again, I think you should reconfigure this properly using Illustrator. Another thing you could do is start moving each of the iso curves specific dimension. You could have actually this elevated as if it was a terrain. That would be quite simple. If I go to the perspective, you can select these curves and then move it vertically. Okay, it feels like it's also duplicating the curve several times, but that's not a big deal. Okay, so I'm gonna try to fix this one so that one doesn't appear. What you could do also is just eliminate it manually here. So this is how it should look. Should be like moving upwards, and at the end it's like that point. You don't go back. So it kind of reads on evolution, vertical evolution of the diagram in relation to the density. Okay, so that is a nice other diagram you can work with. So I think we're done with all these video tutorials.